It was a moonless night, the kind where shadows danced with malevolence. In the quiet town of Hallowbrook, a deadly legacy lay dormant, waiting for its chance to strike. Amongst the townsfolk, rumors circulated about an ancient curse brought upon the descendants of the Gorgons, who had once roamed these lands. In a quaint house at the edge of town, a group of friends gathered for a night of horror movie marathons. Sarah, a brave and bold young woman, decided to share her family's secret with her closest companions. Sitting in the dimly lit living room, Sarah's friends eagerly waited to hear the story she had promised. "All right, everyone, gather around," Sarah said, her voice trembling slightly. "I'm about to tell you something that might sound unbelievable, but I swear it's all true." The room fell into a hushed silence as the friends inched closer, their eyes wide with anticipation. Sarah took a deep breath and began her tale. "My family has always had a dark secret. We are descendants of the Gorgons, cursed with the power to turn anyone who looks into our eyes to stone." Gasps filled the room as her friends exchanged worried glances. "Are you serious?" Mark, a skeptical young man, asked. "I understand why you might find it hard to believe," Sarah replied. "But I assure you, it's real. The curse has haunted my family for generations." Anna, a curious and inquisitive girl, spoke up. "So, you're saying that if we look into your eyes, we'll turn to stone?" And so, the friends continued their journey, fighting against the horrors that sought to consume the world. They became beacons of light in a sea of darkness, never wavering in their mission. And as the years passed, their names turned into legends, their stories whispered through the pages of history. The horror amongst the Gorgons had been tamed, but the legacy of courage would forever endure. Sarah stared at her friends, their faces etched with worry. "I won't let any of you make that sacrifice. I won't put you in harm's way again." Simon placed a hand on her shoulder, his eyes filled with compassion. "We're in this together, Sarah. We faced the worst nightmares once. We will do it again." With resolve in their hearts, they prepared for the ritual, knowing that the fate of Hallowbrook lay in their hands. The townsfolk stood by, eyes filled with hope and trepidation. As the final incantation echoed through the town square, a blinding light erupted, blotting out the night sky. They could feel the presence of darkness tremble before them. Sarah locked eyes with the malevolent entity, her gaze unwavering. "You will not consume us," she declared. "We will vanquish you, just as we did the Gorgon's curse." The battle waged on, an epic clash of light and dark, of fear and courage. Sarah's friends fought beside her, their strength fueling her own. Together, they were unstoppable, and in the end, they emerged victorious. The entity, defeated and banished, dissipated into nothingness, leaving Hallowbrook once again free from the clutches of horror. The townsfolk cheered and celebrated, their hearts filled with gratitude for the guardians who had saved them time and time again. Yet Sarah and her friends knew their work was not yet done. There would always be darkness lurking, waiting for its chance to strike. But as long as they stood united, they vowed to protect their town and each other, keeping the legacy of courage and resilience alive. Years passed, and the memory of the battle against the Gorgons began to fade. The town of Hallowbrook became a symbol of resilience and strength, thanks to Sarah and her friends. They lived out their days in the peace they had fought so hard to achieve, each finding their own path. Anna became a professor of mythology, Simon a renowned artist, Mark a successful lawyer. Sarah, haunted by her family's past, chose a different path. Determined to protect future generations, she dedicated her life to researching curses and dark forces. Her life became a never-ending pursuit of knowledge. The town flourished under the guardianship of Sarah and her friends, who, over the years, had become pillars of the community. But as always, darkness has a way of seeping back in. It started as whispers in the night, tales of strange occurrences around Hallowbrook. People reported hallucinations, their worst nightmares coming to life. Fear gripped the townsfolk once again. Sarah sensed a familiar presence, an eerie energy that felt all too similar to the Gorgon's curse. "We can't let this darkness consume us," she told her friends. "We have to act." Together, they delved deep into their research, determined to find a way to stand against the encroaching horror. Days turned into sleepless nights as they scoured ancient texts and consulted with experts. And finally, a glimmer of hope came in the form of a forgotten ritual, rumored to banish malevolent entities. It required a sacrifice, one that none of them were ready to make. Together, they traveled the world, aiding those affected by the Gorgon's curse. Along the way, they faced unimaginable terrors and struggled against their own inner demons. But through it all, their bond grew stronger, becoming an impenetrable shield against the horrors they encountered. They laughed in the face of danger, facing it head-on with unwavering courage. In an old castle atop a misty Scottish hill, they confronted an ancient Gorgon, its eyes brimming with malice. But this time, they were not alone. They had gathered an army of survivors, breaking free from the curse that had haunted their bloodlines for centuries. With a united front, they waged war against the Gorgon's evil. The battle was intense, the clash of weapons echoing through the castle's halls. But in the end, the strength of unity prevailed. The Gorgon lay defeated, turning to stone itself. Sarah looked around, her eyes filled with pride. "We did it. We've finally put an end to this nightmare." But their victory did not come without a price. Many lives were lost, sacrifices made. The weight of their journey settled heavily on their shoulders, but they knew it was worth it. The survivors broke free from the shadows that had bound them. The curse lifted forever. They returned to their homes, forever changed but resilient. Sarah and her friends returned to Hallowbrook, where they were hailed as heroes, protectors of the town, and rekindlers of hope. Their journey had come to an end, but their legacy lived on. But what if there are other descendants out there? Mark wondered aloud. What if they're still suffering? Simon leaned forward, a determined expression on his face. "Then we must find them, help them break the curse, just as we did." And so, the friends forged a pact to search for others afflicted by the Gorgon's curse, vowing to free them from the chains of fear and isolation. Their journey took them to remote corners of the world, where they encountered others like Sarah, burdened by a legacy they never asked for. They shared stories, offered support, and together, they fought to break free. Years passed, and the friends became more than just a group bound by a shared experience. They became a family, united by their determination to rid the world of the Gorgon's curse. One fateful night, as they gathered by a crackling bonfire under a sky filled with stars, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at the journey they had taken. Who would have thought that sharing our family secret would lead to all of this? Anna laughed, her voice warm and filled with love. "Life has a funny way of working things out, doesn't it?" "Indeed," Simon chimed in. "We've turned our individual horrors into a force for good." "And we're not done," Mark added, his eyes shining with determination. "There are still people out there who need our help." As the embers of the fire danced in the night, the friends made a silent vow to continue their mission, to bring light to the darkness that lurked in the shadows. The spirit's eyes glowed with a sinister light. "I seek revenge for the suffering brought upon my children. You shall all share their fate." Without warning, the spirit lunged forward, its hand outstretched, ready to turn them all to stone. But Sarah, fueled by a strength she never knew she had, stepped forward, her eyes blazing with defiance. "No more," she shouted, her voice filled with determination. "We will not succumb to your curse. We will break this cycle of horror." A surge of power consumed Sarah as she locked eyes with the spirit. In that moment, a blinding light erupted from her, bathing the room in a brilliant glow. The spirit let out a piercing scream, recoiling in pain. Sarah's friends marveled at the spectacle before them, their bodies frozen in fear and awe. Slowly, the light dimmed, and Sarah collapsed to her knees, exhausted but triumphant. The spirit, weakened and defeated, slinked away into the night, leaving the town of Hallowbrook once again free from the curse of the Gorgons. Days turned into weeks, and life in Hallowbrook gradually returned to normal. The friends, forever changed by their encounter, found solace in each other's presence. Sitting in a cozy cafe one afternoon, the group reflected on the events that had unfolded. "Do you think the curse is truly gone?" Anna asked, her voice tinged with a lingering fear. Sarah smiled, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "I believe we broke the cycle. We showed defiance in the face of darkness. The curse won't haunt our families anymore." Sarah nodded, her eyes brimming with sadness. "Yes, Anna, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's why my family has always lived in seclusion and why we've never had any mirrors in our home." Suddenly, the sound of breaking glass shattered the tense atmosphere. The friends jumped in fright as a large rock soared through the living room window. They turned their attention to the window, their hearts pounding in their chests. What was that? Simon, a nervous yet courageous young man, asked. "We need to get out of here," Sarah exclaimed, her voice trembling with fear. "The curse has awakened. We're not safe anymore." Panic filled the room as Sarah's friends scrambled to their feet, desperately searching for an exit. "We have to stick together," Anna shouted, her voice laced with determination. Just as they reached the front door, a chilling voice echoed through the house. "Running won't save you from your fate, descendants of the Gorgons." Their hearts froze in terror as they turned to see a figure towering in the doorway. Dressed in tattered black robes, their every step left a trail of darkness. The atmosphere grew heavy with an unholy presence. "Who are you?" Mark demanded, his voice quivering with both fear and defiance. The figure threw back its hood, revealing a face covered in scales, with serpents writhing in its hair. "I am the vengeful spirit of Medusa, mother of the Gorgons," it hissed. Simon clenched his fists, trying to maintain his composure. "What do you want from us?"